In this video, we're going to do an updated layout of the single product page. So what we're going to do is move from this layout view to this layout view. What we've done here now essentially is move all the product information to be available on the screen at the same time. So we have the image, the title, the rating, the short description here, the long description at the bottom here, and then on the right hand side we have the price, the add to cart, a compare option, and also then a browse wish list, SKU, and the category. And then if I scroll down, you'll see we have the related products, and below the related products we then have this option to submit a review. So that's what we're going to look at setting up. And if I inspect and we have a look at that on the mobile view, so I'll just refresh for the mobile view to kick in. And you'll see that we have the image, the title, review, short description, pricing, add to cart, the long description, and then the related products followed by the rating option. So that's pretty much what we're going to do, what we're going to set up. And the plugin that we're going to use then to make that change is going to be the ProductX, which is a Gutenberg WooCommerce blocks plugin. And I'm going to be using the free version, but there is also a pro version. So what we'll have a look at doing then is creating this layout again and just see how simple and easy it is to create. So just to recap then, we're going to go from this layout and I'll choose a different accessory this time. Let's have a look at the watch, and we're going to move across to this layout so that we have all the information on the screen at the same time, and it's just more of a shopping look than this particular page. Right, the theme that I'm using here is the Blocksy theme, so standard install of the Blocksy theme, and then I'm going to be using the ProductX plugin to do the layout. So let me go back over here to the retro sunglasses. Now you'll notice that I've only applied the template to the retro sunglasses, and that's because there are conditions that allow you to set the template for specific product categories. Then I'm going to go back over here into the builder, and you'll see this is where we put it all together. And in order to get started from fresh then, I'm going to just head out of this, and I'm going to go over here to the ProductX settings page. So in the ProductX setting page, you'll see that there are a couple of options available to you. And what we're specifically interested in here is the WooCommerce builder. And you'll see in the WooCommerce builder, I have created a single product template, which is this one over here. And you'll see here that it has this manage conditions. And I've said it should include all child product or be in the child product categories. And I've selected accessories. Now I could create a separate template for each category on the website. What I'm going to do now is just delete this template. So we'll delete that. And you'll see that when you start out, if you have the pro version, you can of course select some template to get you started. But as we're not on the pro, we're going to just create our own quickly, and we'll start from scratch. So when you click on the start from scratch, you'll see that the page gets loaded up, and you'll see this single product template page, and that's pretty much the starting point. And what we're going to do now is look at recreating this layout. So if I was to refresh this page, you will see it should just go back to the standard layout. So the first thing that we're going to do then is add a column. So we'll select column, and we're going to go for a 2-column layout. So we'll just have a look at that. So we have the 2-column layout, and now we're ready to have a look at adding the product information into those columns. And you'll see now that when I go to click the plus, WordPress is only showing me the column. And to move away from that, just click outside of the column element and hit the plus again, and then you'll see that all the elements are back. Then we look for the single product, and here's the product image. So I'm going to drag that and drop that into the product image section, and already you can see we have the image and the thumbnails. So that's looking right. And then on the right hand side, we'll add the product title. Then we're going to add the rating. So look for the product rating. Right, so now you can see that there's something really strange happening when we drag stuff across. That looks like it's something to do with WordPress where it's dragging the image across and not the whole block content. So if that does happen, just simply remove those images. I'm going to go back to plus, and then we're going to drag across the product title again. And this time we've dragged across the product title. So be careful not to select the image, but to actually select the text when dragging the information across. Then we're going to do the product rating. And following that, we're going to have a look at the short description. So you'll remember that that was our layout in the middle column. And then on the far right-hand side, we had the product price. I'm just going to add it all here first. So we have the product price followed by the stock. So let's have a look for the product stock. And after the product stock, we had the add to cart. And let's have a look. Product add to cart. So that was the general layout. I think we have everything that we were looking for. Right, now what we want to do is separate this into two columns. So what I'm going to do now is add another column. So just to show you the layout that we have at the moment is that we have the column on the left-hand side with the image, and then we have a column on the right-hand side with all the elements. Now what we're going to do is add another set of columns to this column. Right, so to do that, let's add, and I'm just going to click there on column, and you'll see it's added another column to the current layout. Now that's not what we're after, so I'm going to delete that. And what we're going to do now is actually add the column element in here. So I'm just showing you how this all works. So if you do get stuck, you can see what I've done. So there I add the column element, and we're going to make that two columns. Right, now for this to work, I'm going to just drag this to the top. And let's try that again. Maybe to just below the product title. Not working. Okay, so now I'm just going to drag the elements across. So I'm going to add the product title into the first column, and I'm going to drag the review to below the product title. And then the short description, I'm just going to drag that in as well. So there we have the short description. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to add the price and follow that by the stock. And the last thing I'm going to add then is this add to cart. Right, so there we have the layout, very similar to what we had. The short description, the add to cart on the right, and below that we had the product description. And what I'm going to do then is head over to add, and I'm going to look for product description. And there we have the product description, and I'm going to add that in there. So there we have a pretty basic layout of what we had before. What's missing at the top here is the breadcrumb. So what I'm going to do is add, and for the breadcrumb, I'm going to add a row first. So we're going to add a row, and then inside that row, we will add the breadcrumb. There's the product breadcrumb. And we're going to drop that in. So we have the breadcrumb, the image, and that's very close to the layout that we had. Now to see the layout again in a much easier way, if we expand these elements, you get an idea of what the layout looks like. So the first column had the image, and then the right-hand column had the product information. So the first column, I'm going to set the width there. I'm going to change that pixel to the drop down of percentage. So we're going to make that a 40% width, and then the second column, I'm going to make that a 60% width, something along those lines. And then the columns, the internal columns, I'm going to swap that around and make the first column, let's start with 60%, and then the second column, we will make that percentage 40%. All right, let's publish that. And now it's going to ask us where we'd like to allocate the template, and I'm going to say include in products, and we'll do the child product categories again. And as you start typing, the categories appear. I'm going to save it into the accessories again, conditions saved, update, and now when we refresh retro sunglasses, we should see there's the basic layout, but you can see it's very different to what we had before. So we need to adjust the width of this, for example, because that's looking too narrow, and then we must add in the related products. So what I'm going to do then is head over here to this builder tab, and you'll see that the builder page container width is 1140, and I'm going to change that to 1800. Update, head over to the website, refresh, and now you'll see that we have that kind of full page width, and that's starting to look a lot like what we had before. Let's get back, and now what I'm going to do under the columns is I'm going to add the related products. So to do that, I'm going to add. Now you'll see it says column, and that's because I'm in the column element. So I need to click outside of that and then hit the plus again, and that will get me, there we go. Now I get all the elements back, and now I'm looking for a product listing. So I don't want to look in the single product. I'm going to go back here and look in the product list, and you'll see I'm looking for a product list, but maybe a product grid would be better. And product grid number 1, number 2, number 3. So I kind of like the look. It's hard to tell, but let's just go with that product grid. So there we've added the product grid, and you'll see that it has a whole lot of different information. Now, what's nice though is that here on the right hand side, you can turn items on and off depending on the selection. So maybe we don't want variation swatches, and then it also has this hover effect. So here we can change. You'll notice now that we can select, that's a pro feature, but as we select different things, different items here, the layout changes very slightly over here. We can also select to go with the grid view or a slide view. Now, I'm not fond of the hover showing all this additional information, and I'd much rather prefer something simple. So maybe something like that. And I'm not really, I don't really want that funny hover effect. So I think what I'm going to do is remove product grid number 2, and I'm going to look at adding product grid number 3. So it's very easy. You just change the grid, and this one now has the slide up add to cart. Not crazy about that. Let's go to product grid number 4, and that looks very similar. So we just remove. So you can now select which grid you want, and it looks like we'll have to go with one of these. Let's have a look at product grid number 1 again. Right, and that's the one that we want. It's got no hover effects or anything. It's quite standard. So you can see each one does give you a couple of options. So that's looking good. And we're looking at 4 columns. That's fine. And then if we scroll down a bit more, you'll see this query option. And if we look at that drop down, this is where we can set the number of products. And I'm going to set that to 4. So that query is nice. And then the kind of related products that we have is we can select how they're related. So I'll go back to the query, and you'll see here we have this quick query, select advanced query, and I want to do the related products by product category, related products, product category, and only the products related by product category will show. So there we have the product grid, and let's change that to related products, and now we need to add the comment section. So what I'll do is just scroll to the bottom of the page, and let's add, and now we're going to look for the comment. So we go back to the single product, and we're just going to look here for the product review, and there we have the product review template. So we'll just go product one review. Okay, so we'll update that. Let's have another look at our page now that we've added those elements. So that's fine. There we have the related products, and there we have the review section. So yeah, that's looking pretty good. Now what we can do is just add some spacing and then format these elements on the right hand side. So scroll up, and if you want more space on the page, you can of course then collapse the menu on the left. That gives you a little bit more space. And I'm going to head over to the element. Now to get the spacing right, when you select it, you won't see it under style, but if you go to advanced and under general, you can see here you can set the different spacing. So what I'm going to do is set a margin, and I'm not going to have it linked so that I can set different margins for top, right, left. If it's all together, then whatever you do in this block will be applied to all the blocks, and we don't want a margin all the way around. So I'm just going to go with 20, and then I'm going to do the same here on the review. We'll select the review, head over to advanced, go to general, and select the bottom margin then to 20. So that'll just give some space between that and the description. So with that done, let's update and let's refresh the page. And now we should see some spacing between the items, and that's looking good. Right, let's go over to the pricing section. So first of all, we do want to change the size of this price because it's not very big. And here we have the sale price typography, and we want to go to 20. Let's go to 36. Let's make it nice and big. Right, so that's done. Then we've also got the sale price color, and of course we want to make that red. And the next thing we can add is a label. So if we add a label, it'll just say price in front. I don't think we need a label. And if we add the discount badge, it'll just let the customer know what the discount is. So that is personal preference, yes or no. And then under the advanced, you can add your own class. So not going to worry about that. The next thing we have is the in stock, and then we have the add to cart. So the add to cart, we would like to make some improvements there and make it a lot bigger. So what I'll do now is I'm going to activate this plus minus button, and now you'll see that we have the plus and the minus, and there we have the add to cart button. So I'll start with the add to cart button. We'll go to the typography, and I do want to make that nice and big. So let's go with 36 and see how that pans out. That's fine. Then if we scroll down, we'll see we have this padding section, and I'm going to just link them together, and I'm going to make everything 15. Right, so there we have everything added to 15. Now we can go back to the background color. We've set it solid, and I'm going to make it red. So that looks good to me. There's also a border. If we wanted to add a border, we could, and I'm going to leave the hover then to the black. Then we have the quantity element here. So now we'll head over here to the quantity, and we can set the quantity color and the quantity background. So the background at the moment is a little bit dark. I'm going to just move that slider to lighten it up. And I'm going to add some quantity padding, and let's make that 10 all round. In fact, let's make it a little bit more. Right, so that's nice and big. Now, in the quantity settings, there's a lot that you can set, but the one thing that you can't set is the size of that quantity, that value. You can do a lot of other things, but you can't set that. So I've set that now, well, just the padding around it a bit bigger. And now we have to adjust the padding around these two icons so that we can line that up at the bottom. And to do that, then we'll head over back to the plus minus buttons, and we're looking for the icon padding. And in this case, I'm going to change that to 10 all round, and you'll see the change, the effect of that change, and we'll update. Now, this is not 100% accurate. So to get a more accurate reading, we'll refresh it here on the front page, and you'll see that's a little bit too big. So let's go back and let's change that to, let's halve that to 5. Let's refresh. And yeah, that's looking a lot better. And so there we have the quantity and then the add to cart. If you want to make that add to cart a little bit more, look a bit more like a button, then what I'm going to do is go over to the button style, and I'm going to set the border radius to 5, and that'll give us a nice border around the button. So now when you have a look at that, you'll see that we have this nice style. It looks more like a button, and we also then have a much clearer call to action. So that's looking pretty good. And the one thing I can see that we haven't got here is the meta information. So that would be the category name. Let's head back, and in this column then we'll click on the add, and now now you'll see that what I'd like to do is add a block. So I'm going to click on add, and in here then I'm just going to type in meta, and that brings us the product meta. Select the product meta and it drops it in, and update. And now when I look at it on the website, you'll see that we have the product meta, that's the SKU and the category, and immediately I see I want to add some spacing. So I'm just going to go, well, I can go straight to the product meta. I'm already on it. Go into advanced, go to general, and then with margin at the top, we'll just make that 20. We'll update, and now you'll see that we have a bit of spacing there. So we also might want to add a bit of spacing here. So let's select the price, go to advanced, general, and I'm going to then 20 margin, and I'm going to do the same thing for the stock. So if the stock is showing, it also then has the correct spacing, and we'll update, and that should look a little bit better. Now it's looking very crowded with this percentage off amount. I think what I'm going to do is just remove that, and to do that I just remove the discount badge, update, and there we have yeah, a much cleaner, nicer look. So here we have the layout looking pretty good, and I think what I want to do now is add some spacing here around this breadcrumb, and we'll do it pretty much in the way that you would be familiar with by now. Select the element, head over to advanced, go to general, and in this case I'm just going to add some padding all round, and I'll make it 20 all round. So there we have a much nicer looking breadcrumb, and we have the product information. Everything fits nicely on the page, and if I scroll down now, this area here looks like it needs a bit of attention. Also very easy to update. Head over here to related products, and I'm going to go over to advanced, and straight away I'm going to add some margin at the bottom because I don't want the reviews to be too close, and maybe I'll even go a little bit more. Then what I'm going to do is I want to add some style on the image, maybe give it a bit of a drop shadow and make it pop, and then maybe also align everything here in the middle. So I'm going to scroll down, and let's have a look. Now you'll see all the elements are listed here. Right at the top though, you'll see these are the elements as they appear here, and you'll see title, then it has a description, a price, a review, and a cart. And you'll see as they appear in that order, they appear down here, and here we turn them on or off. So if I was to, for example, add the short description, then you'll see the short description now appears in the list, but I don't want it there, so I just turn it off, and then it's not visible. So now we can start looking at aligning things. So right at the top you have the alignment, and I'm going to center that straight away, and I'm also now going to just start at the top and work my way down. So the first thing that we can have a look at here is the categories, and we just have a look down here for category. I can of course turn it off. This is the related products, and they're all in the same category that I'm looking at, so I don't think I need to list the category in this case. The next thing that we're going to have a look at then is the title. I think the title is fine, but I'd like to change the color. I don't think the black works, and I'll just head over here to color then and make that red. I think that's working a lot better. The next item I'd like to have a look at is the price. So let's have a look here. Here's the price element, and I do want to change. Do I want to change the color? That's too much red. So we'll just have a look at what we can do on the pricing side. Here's the typography, and yes, I would like to make that a little bit bigger. So I think 24 is looking good. The font weight we'll leave as normal. That's great. And the padding, I do want to add some space below the price. So I'm going to make that 15, and you'll see that it was linked. I don't want to, well, we could go with 15 or round. That kind of does give the spacing then below the title as well. So that works. And then we have the add to cart button. So let's head down and look for the button. So we have the content wrap, the price. Let's just have a look for image. We're looking for cart, so that's the cart. So at the add to cart button is cart. We do want to make that slightly bigger. Maybe we'll go with 20. And if we scroll down, we can add some padding. And in this case, I'll leave it linked and I'll make it 15. So we have a nice big button, and that works for me. And we can also give that button a border radius of 5. That just makes it look more like a button. Next thing we want to do then is sort out that image, add a drop shadow. So I'm going to head over to the image, scroll down. I'll give that image a border radius of 10, so it has a nice soft edge. And now what we want to do is change the box shadow. So there, under the box shadow settings, right at the top is where we set the shadow. I don't want any offset to the left or right, and I'd like the offset to be a little bit below. We do want some blur in there, and we'll leave that at 1. And then, of course, that color is not going to work for the drop shadow, so we'll make that black. And then here we can slide it just to make it a little bit lighter, and that just makes the image pop quite nicely on the page. And we'll update that. Let's head back to the website. Let's have a look at what we have. And you'll see that that's looking really nice now. And the images are really nicely highlighted. So I'm liking that layout. Really, really nice. Very neat. And I see now that the reviews, we'd like to move them a little bit further down. Going to head back here. Head over to the review section. Head over to advanced, general, and the margin at the top, and I'll make sure it's not linked. I'm going to add that, make that 40 at the top, so it moves it down quite a lot. And I also know that under advanced here, we also set the bottom margin to 40. Maybe we'll make that, if it's not linked, then it applies to all the elements. So let's link it again, remove everything. So just be careful, because it defaults to linked no matter what you've done on the previous occasion. Okay, move that down, refresh, and now we have a much bigger gap. So yeah, that works for me, and that's pretty much the layout that we had with the 3 columns. So now when you look at the page, you see, well, all the product information together, and you have a nice big image here. So when it comes to buying, it makes it really easy. So that's looking good. Now what we'd like to do, though, of course, is check it on mobile. So I'm just going to use this inspect option, refresh the page to make sure we get the mobile layout. And as we scroll down, you'll say, yeah, everything is there and it looks good, but I'm not crazy about the edges touching here with the text. The image looks great, but all the other elements not looking so good. To fix that, I'm going to head over here to the layout and select the title. Now, if we look at the layout again in this layout view, and I select a column, there's nowhere to set the column padding. So nowhere here can I set the column padding, which is what I would like to do. So I need to do it per element. So we simply select an element and head over to advanced. Now we'll go to general, and you'll see here that when it comes to the padding, you can select just the mobile view. So we'll select mobile, and I only want to add the padding to the left and right. So we're going to add 15 to the left, 15 to the right. Then I'll select the product rating, head over to advanced, and we'll do the same. And we'll also do the same then for product description. And I'm doing it here in this kind of list view because it's much easier to select the elements here. It's less disruptive than selecting them individually over there. And right, so we've done that column. Now we'll do the next column. Unfortunately, there's no quicker way to do this. So for now you'll see that the padding is already applied here. It shows that it's being applied to mobile. I don't have to adjust that each time. Advanced, general, 15 there, 15 there. Product add to cart, general, and then the product meta. So it just takes a little while, but it's pretty quick. Right, so we've done that section. Now we do it to the product description. Advanced, general. And the last two would then be the product grid. So we're going to do it to the product grid as well. And then the product review. And then we're done. We can update that, head over to the website, refresh the mobile view, and you'll see now that we have a little bit of space down the left and right. Fantastic. It's looking really good. And yeah, there we have our product. And that looks really good. Let's have a look at another product. Let's go to the watch. So there's the watch coming up. Nice with the reviews at the top, the short description, the pricing, nice big add to cart, compare, add to wish list, scroll down. Right, so I'm going to go back to the desktop view, just refresh. So here we are back on the desktop view, and yeah, everything is working really nicely. And that's pretty much then how easy it is to create, pretty much any template. And we've gone for this nice layout. Let's just go back now to the builder. Let's collapse, and you'll see everything done. That's nice. It's saved. We have the condition set. So if I go to products and I select something that's not in accessories, then of course it's going to show with the normal view. I'm not crazy about that view anymore. So I'm going to go back here, and when it comes to the condition now, I'm going to say include products, and it'll be all products. We'll save the condition, close, update, head over to the website, refresh, and now all the products should have that layout. Let's have another look. Maybe there was a delay in the update. No, let's go back to the condition. So here we've said include products and all, and let's save that condition again. And we'll update, refresh. So for some reason that condition is not being applied to all the products. So include in product categories all. Let's add another option in child product categories all. Save condition. We'll update, and now when we refresh, right, so now it's been applied to all the main categories and all the child categories. So this means that whatever product I have a look at, let's have a look at handbags. Right, the handbag looks good. Let's have a look at shoes. And the sneakers look good as well. And yes, once again, the related products now are related to the category I'm in. And that's all working really nicely. Right, so that's how easy that was. Let's just expand then and go back to the ProductX. And let's see what's happened there. So inside ProductX, I'm going to go over to the WooCommerce builder, and now you'll see that the single product template that we created is visible, and from here we can manage the conditions. And if I click on edit, we'll go back to where we were, and it is published. Or if I want to remove it, I can set to draft and it'll just go back to the standard website template. There are other templates that you can create. So here you can build out your home page. Once again, with Pro, you get to just add a layout. And we've created the single product. And then you can also create your own shop page, the cart page. And you'll see that the cart pages also allow for quite a bit of flexibility. The checkout page, once again, different flexibility and options. The My Account section, you can even style the thank you page, the product search, and then also the product archive pages. So if I wanted to create an archive template, unfortunately, let's have a look. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that. No, I would need to upgrade to a plan in order to do that. Now, we're only allowed to make one template when you have the free version. So in this case, we chose to create a template for a single product page. Quite equally, we could have chosen then to make an archive page. So that is this ProductX Gutenberg WooCommerce Blocks plugin. Really easy to use. And let's just have a look at the pricing then. So let's go and have a look here at Buy Now. Now you'll see at the moment there is a discount available because of the Halloween sale, 50% off, ends in 12 hours. That's one site, unlimited sites per year. But if you go for the lifetime view, you'll see that at the moment, pricing is quite reasonable. If you're going to go for unlimited sites, if you're a developer or a single site license, or then if you're just looking to do 5 sites. So good value there if we have a look at how easy it is then to set up WooCommerce using the blocks on your website. What we'll have a look at now, perhaps what we'll do is do another video and build the archive template. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Once again, we're looking at ProductX, Gutenberg WooCommerce blocks, and it makes it really easy to build out templates. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching.